Patrick Ewing. He turns 59 today. He's a Hall of Famer, 11-time All-Star, current Georgetown head coach. But is he the greatest player in Knicks history? Who you got?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. We touched on this earlier this morning. I believe Ewing is the greatest Knick of all time. I think the top five are Ewing 1, Walt Frazier 2, Willis Reed 3, Earl Monroe 4, and then you can argue over 5 between Carmelo Anthony and my sentimental pick, which is Bernard King. Bernard King, unfortunately, his greatness was so short-lived that it's very hard to put him there on this list, but he was so good. But yes, Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick of all time.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy, back again. Marlo knows basketball and Marlo knows boxing. Back at y'all with another one. Patrick Ewing, for a while now, has been considered the greatest Knick of all time. For all of those people that would probably bring up Willis Reed and Walt Clyde Frazier, yes, I do agree that they had better careers and their resumes were better than Patrick Ewing's. But I really don't count players that played before the NBA-ABA merger. Reason being, because before the merger, half, if not more than half, of the best players in the world were not playing in the NBA. There weren't a lot of teams, and it wasn't a lot of competition. So, you know, a lot of those guys that racked up those accolades back then before the merger, I just feel it's not fair to guys that played after the merger, because they played against the guys that played after the merger played against more competition. So excluding Willis Reed and Walt Clyde Frazier, Patrick Ewing definitely is the greatest Knick of all time. Patrick Ewing was dominant on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. And I think a lot of what Patrick Ewing's greatness comes from is his competition as well. You know, he had to play against the Shaquille O'Neals, the Karl Malones, the David Robinsons, the Alonzo Mournings, the Akeem Olajuwons, the Dikembe Mutombos. When Patrick Ewing played in the NBA and during his prime, there was so much competition at the big man position. And not only at the big man position, I'd say the main reason why Patrick Ewing never won a championship, just like a lot of other guys never won a championship in that era, was because the greatest player of all time played in that era, and that's Michael Jordan. In addition with having to deal with the most competition at the center position in NBA history, he also had to deal with the greatest player of all time in his way in that Eastern Conference year after year, stopping him from getting to the finals. And it was pretty evident that as soon as Michael Jordan retired to go play baseball, that very next year, Patrick Ewing was in the NBA Finals, going head-to-head with Akeem Olajuwon, and put up a really good fight. They took the New York Knicks took the Houston Rockets to 7 games that year and lost Game 7 by only 6 points. So Patrick Ewing was that close to winning an NBA championship. Patrick Ewing also, again, after Michael Jordan retired in 1998, the very next year in 1999, Patrick Ewing's Knicks were again in the NBA Finals going up against Tim Duncan's San Antonio Spurs. But of course, Patrick Ewing got hurt in the Eastern Conference Finals and wasn't able to play in the NBA Finals in 1999. His Knicks go on to lose that series against Tim Duncan's Spurs in 5 games. But I still credit Patrick Ewing for leading that New York Knicks team. He was still the leading scorer for that New York Knicks team in the regular season, and was a very key part, the most important part, in my opinion, of them getting to the NBA Finals that year. I believe the only team to ever get to the NBA Finals as an 8 seed. And up until now, the New York Knicks have never been that far, have never been to the finals, haven't been to an Eastern Conference Finals since Patrick Ewing. And this year, 2025, Jalen Brunson has done the impossible, leading the Knicks to a 6-game victory over the champion Boston Celtics. And I don't want to hear anything about Jason Tatum's injury. They were going to beat the Celtics with or without that Tatum injury. So I don't want to hear that as an excuse. And Jalen Brunson is the main reason for that. Jalen Brunson, of course, is the clutch player of the year, and he showed it during that series. He was dominant against the Celtics. Couldn't do nothing to stop him. And we haven't seen this from a New York Knick since Patrick Ewing. I know a lot of people would try to bring up Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony never looked like this. He never looked like how Jalen Brunson is looking right now. He never got the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals. The farthest that Carmelo Anthony was able to get the Knicks was to the second round of the playoffs. And now Jalen Brunson has the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. Not only in the Eastern Conference Finals, with home court advantage, going up against a Pacers team that they are going to be favored against. The Knicks are in prime position to get back to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999, and Jalen Brunson is leading them. And if they are able to win the championship, if Jalen Brunson is able to get that Larry O'Brien trophy this year, I would have to crown him as the greatest Knick of all time. He will be taking that crown from Patrick Ewing. And you can imagine the frenzy that is going to be in New York City if the Knicks are able to pull this off, and if Jalen Brunson is able to pull this off. I would suspect that he would also be the finals MVP, and that's the reason why I would have to put him over Patrick Ewing if they're able to win this championship. And I'm pulling for the Knicks to be able to do it. And you can imagine that media frenzy that's going to be around the New York Knicks, the biggest market in the USA, the biggest city, the marquee city of the United States of America is New York City, and they haven't had a championship. The Knicks haven't won a championship since the 70s, since 1973. So it will be the first time in 52 years that a championship has been brought, an NBA championship has been brought to New York City. Jalen Brunson is going to be on top of the world, and he's going to be unanimously the greatest Knick of all time.
Jalen Brunson will end his career as the best Knick of all time. Wow, that's a call. More than Ewing. All time. Why is that? Because he's the most clutch player in Knicks history. He's going to lead us to a championship. You think he could be better than Ewing? Yes. Why? Break it down. Because he's the most clutch. Brunson's got the clutch factor, and he's going to lead us to a championship.